your thumb. Yeah, it says REC record. This. Okay, great. So here we are with one of my all-time favorite tag teams that I grew up when I became a pro wrestling fan, like around the age of 9 or 10. I mean, these two guys were my first heroes.
What kind of tag team were we, though?
You were the World Tag Team Champions.
Thank you for giving us that credit.
Yeah, we were great. There's no two ways about that.
That's right. Playboy Buddy Rose and the Polish Prince Ed Wiskowski.
A.K.A. Colonel Debeers.
Yeah, that too.
A.K.A. Paul Pershman.
Yeah. So, God, you two guys go a long way back, don't you?
Yeah, but I started back in 1973. Colonel, when did you start?
1972.
Yes.
Miami, Florida.
And I went to the Vern Gagne and Billy Robinson camp in Minnesota in 1973. Toughest thing I ever went through in my life. But I paid my dues to get in this business, and I had a great run.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, because I remember seeing you guys come out like I just became familiar with that name, Playboy Buddy Rose. So you became the first wrestler I was drawn to, and even though you guys were heels, just something about you guys, I just thought you guys were just too cool.
We were charismatic. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but we were able to entertain and also at the same time get a lot of heat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, you guys just dominated the programming on there, just about every interview. And I mean, now you were also at the same time you guys were World Tag Team Champions. You also were the United States Champion. I understand.
Yes, I was. I held both titles at the same time with the Colonel, and we were defending them up and down the West Coast and anywhere else across the country that we could possibly. We defended them to anybody and anyone, any night, anywhere. We were true champions.
Yeah. At the same time, you also were doing a tag team with John Tolos, I remember.
Yeah, Tolos and I teamed up on occasion, and again, John Tolos was a very talented man as well. I mean, he'd been in California for a number of years and had built up quite a reputation as the Golden Greek. But John was a good performer, and he probably could still perform today if you've seen him here at the convention. Yeah, he's in great shape today.
Yeah, and I remember, you guys were managed by a guy named Dr. Ken Ramey.
Yes, Dr. Ken Ramey. Nice man. It's a funny story I'll tell you about him, though. We never saw each other except at the arena. He was my manager. That was it. I traveled with the Colonel, Easy Ed Wiskowski, Playboy Buddy Rose. We traveled together. I never made a trip with the man, but never really got to know him personally. I just knew him business as far as at the arena. That's where I saw him. We did our thing, and we went our separate ways afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. I have no idea. I have no idea where Ken Ramey is, or to this day. I
found Doug Summers.
Where was Doug Summers?
He's down in I think the Atlanta area. I found a guy that said he lives about 30 minutes away and has his phone number, so we're going to hook that up.
Okay.
And that's a little reality check scoop right on your show.
Yeah. Doug pretty.
World Tag Team Champions of the AWA, my partner.
Yep. But I remember that reign you had very well.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a good run against the Rockers.
Yeah. Now this is so weird. Like I get a little confused with when I was watching Big Time Wrestling every week. Then all of a sudden it got replaced by a different wrestling show in the Bay Area, and then eventually I discovered another wrestling show that replaced the one after that. And all of a sudden Ron Starr, who eventually got the United States title after you did.
Yeah.
You were stripped, as I recall.
I never lost the title, did I?
Yeah, you got stripped of it.
How did I get stripped of it?
The
reason I'm asking is I want to hear your story, so these people, we'll set it straight right here. What did you hear? How did I lose the title, and why was it stripped from me?
I seem to remember it was some contract negotiation. You failed to appear or something for certain matches, from what I remember.
First of all, that is false, and here's a liar backing up a liar. Is it a false story?
That's right. It's a false story.
False story.
That's not what happened, and I think that now's as good a time as any to set the record straight as to what really happened.
Yeah, I just want to say that, first of all, Red Bastien was booking the territory at the time, and they told me to go get an injunction. I got a lawyer. I got an injunction. I told Roy Sheir I'm going to get an injunction. The promoter, he told me, he says it's like swimming the ocean. You're never going to make it across from one end to the other, from one continent to another. And I said, well, I'm going to do it, and I did it. And I got
this was an injunction against the State Athletic Commission, the California State Athletic
to be reinstated before that Saturday night match. I showed up ready to wrestle with my bag and my wrestling gear, and I said I can go out and do the title because here's my paperwork. I got it done. And he says, well, I already changed the match, Rose. And he says, I'm putting Ron Starr in there against, who was it?
Piper.
Mantell.
No, I think he took on Roddy Piper for the
Roddy
vacant
Piper.
title.
Because I went to the, as you remember, I had an argument in the dressing room with Roy Shires that night saying, well, I'm going to go out and tell the people that I'm here and I'm not going to lie to them. They paid good money to come see me wrestle. And he says, well, I already changed it on the TV that we did last Monday. I already told him there's going to be a substitute. I said, well, now you can bring it back to a reality check and make it a real. I mean, Buddy Rose is here. You can do it because I did the paperwork and I paid for the lawyer. And I says, and I'm gonna wrestle. He says, no, you're not, over my dead body. I said, well, you know, you screwed the people over the years many times. I says, that's why the Fujis walked out, the Don Moroccos walked out, the Toru Tanakas walked out. That's why they all walked out, because you do things like this to the people as a promoter and you're cheating them. And I said, I don't believe in cheating the people, so I'm going to stand up against you. And when my match is announced, I'm going down and telling the people that I'm here. And he says, you're never going to make it because I'll have security stop you and I'll kick your ass. I says, you're not going to kick my ass. Anyway, we went around the dressing room. All the wrestlers heard this, and you can ask John Tolis or Ed Wiskowski at the time, Red Bastine, and it ended up, it came to the main event, and he announced the two wrestlers. They had started the match. It was a 2 out of 3 fall match, as you remember. Roddy Piper wasn't in that match. It was Mantell and Starr, I think. Starr for sure. And I walked out to the ring in my street clothes, and he sent security, those cops with the helmets on after me. And the cop says, we're not going to be part of your show. We're not going to be part of this. We're not going to get Buddy Rose. I'm up on the ring apron while they're wrestling. Did you remember that? Were you at the show?
No, I wasn't. I lived in Wattsville, and I was a kid. You know?
I jumped up on the apron in my suit, and I'm walking around in a suit, dressed up. And they're wrestling. The first fall ends, and they're announcing the winner of the first fall, and I'm grabbing the mic. I went to talk, and the microphone's off. It doesn't work. So now I'm like, geez, here comes Roy Shires after me up the aisle, and he's telling the cops to grab me, and the cops won't grab me. He's starting to yell at them, and the cops grab him, and they hook Roy Shires, and they take him to the back.
That's awesome.
True story. Now I'm standing there, and the second fall gets through. I get the mic, and it stays on. I say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I just want to let you know I was here to defend the title. I got an injunction. Roy Shires is the one that screwed you people, not me. I was here. I could have defended the title because you paid good money to see wrestling, whether you like me or you hate me. But you should get your money's worth. And I just want to let you know, Roy Sheir screwed you. He screwed you with Tanaka. He screwed you with Fuji. He screwed you with Morocco over the years. And now he screwed you with me. So don't be mad at me. Be mad at Roy Shires. I got my speech in. The match, they wrestled the rest of the match, and it finished up, but I got my point across, and that was kind of the beginning of the end of Roy Shires, and I ended up going out the back door, got in a car, drove away, and I was done with Roy Shires, went back to the Pacific Northwest. I had all the support of Don Owen, who was a promoter. He told me to do the same thing because he believed in what I was doing, and he was standing next to Roy Shires' wife. This was a good part of the story. Roy Shires' wife's looking down from the balcony, looking down, saying, boy, is he doing the wrong thing, Buddy's doing the wrong thing because he's going to get blackballed. And Ed says, no. What did you say to her?
No, there's no way that you're going to blackball a talent like that.
Or because of this whole situation. He's basically saying, I don't think so, he told her. He says, I think Buddy's going to continue to wrestle. I think it's your husband that's in trouble. So it was the beginning of the end. Don't get me wrong, great promoter over the years. You know, did give the fans of San Francisco a lot of great wrestling, but he did do a few little stunts like this that did screw the people at times that he shouldn't have, and in the big picture it hurt him.
Yeah, because the way I remembered, I just remember him announcing that you'd been stripped of the title and the big pop. And then they said that we'll put the top two contenders, Ron Starr and Roddy Piper, against each other. And then
was it Roddy Piper as Dutch Mantell or Kenny Mantell?
Well, maybe that was the match that was scheduled to happen. Right. So they had Dutch Mantell, but I think the week after, then they made a tournament match between Starr and Piper, and that became a long-standing feud of Starr and Piper. In fact, they ended up being the only two guys on the show every week wrestling a whole hour of 2 out of 3 falls matches, either in tag, mixed tag. It got kind of old.
Right. Well, we just gave you the reality check of it all. Your titles, the name of your show says it all. That's exactly what happened. You got the true story right here, and I can't tell you any better than that. Yeah. Otherwise, to me, I'm still like as Bret Hart says, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And that title change in Montreal, I can say it about 78. I never lost the U.S. title, so I guess I'm still the U.S. champion of the Bay Area.
Yeah, and you know, so
and we're still the World Tag Team champions. We never got beat either.
Really?
That's right.
So we're retired.
The funny thing is about this whole story, you know, Shires lost his promotion, and I ran into him in the airport in Las Vegas years later, and he He said that he'd made a mistake and that he should have. Afterthought was anything. He was down in Vegas at that time. He was buying himself a whorehouse, and he did end up buying a whorehouse in
Well,
Vegas.
brothel is a proper word for Vegas or Nevada.
Yeah, Moonlight Bunny Ranch. But I mean, I want to say, Ed, when I saw this other wrestling program come on with a bunch of new wrestlers, and all of a sudden Ron Starr came into the promotion as the United States champion, and he ended up losing it to Bruiser Bob Sweetan.
Okay, that was what happened. Was he'd originally tried to use,
Florida.
I believe,
Stuff out of Florida.
but then they ixnayed it. Then he tried using things out of Kansas City. Because that's where Sweetan was working out of at the time, and they were going to use his talent at the Cow Palace, but it was not a quality production by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, because
it just failed.
Yeah, like the top heels were like, I think, the Assassin and the Rock Hunter organization.
Rock Hunter and the Assassin, right?
And you
Phil Robley, I believe, was the booker at that time.
And I was shocked. You came into the promotion as a face because I was used to seeing them boo you. All of a sudden, you came in, and I remember it was kind of interesting. Like your style still hadn't changed. It's like I remember Rock Hunter was out talking a bunch of trash about you, something about your reputation. You went up, he was on the microphone. You went up and got right in his face and started saying, once they got to my face, this and that. And Hunter just got out of the ring and walked off. And you just said, "Don't even mess with the Prince," And I just like. Hey, he's the same old, but it's just kind of a different way,
Right, and it was a short-lived thing anyway. They just needed somebody right quick as a babyface because they had nobody.
Right.
And then I stayed babyface probably for about maybe 6 weeks, but then I turned back heel against Reggie Parks.
Actually, I think what I remember, the first hit I got, because the show ended up going off the air again, you were teaming up with the Masked Assassin.
Right, which was Reggie Parks.
Okay, that's when I saw an interview was being done between you. You kept going, well, I'm the intelligent half. I'm the good-looking one, all this stuff.
Well, he's got to be better looking than a mask.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a handsome guy, man, You guys must have got hella tail back then, too.
It happened.
The tail's on the end of the rats, so I guess we had a lot of rats. Is what you're saying, right?
No, booty is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
you call them
groupies, yeah.
A little proper form. Okay.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a musical vignette with you riding in a limo with a bunch of girls.
Let me tell you, do you know how many women I had to sleep with to get where I'm at today? I mean, I had to sleep with a lot of them.
Wow. Yeah. I feel really bad for you, man.
Don't feel that bad. I mean, it was a hard job, but somebody had to do it. Colonel got it.
Yeah, you know what? I for years I let women abuse me and take advantage of me sexually.
They violated us.
And I finally smartened up and found out that they were just using me for their own sexual satisfaction.
Yeah.
So
we could have charged. We could have charged money.
Yeah, but
especially in Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh, of all places.
Yeah. I recently gotten some videos from that era that I watched. I discovered on the internet. Like, 'cause I remember it has your little arm wrestling match with Ron Pope, where you took him out. You both jumped, double teamed Ron Pope.
Yeah. Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. You guys would know better than I would.
No, I have no idea where Ron Pope was at.
Yeah. The thing I noticed most, there definitely was a much stronger emphasis on wrestling at that time. It was all about the wrestling. And I think Chris Benoit took a page out of your book because you did that flying headbutt off the top turnbuckle.
Him and Harley Race were the first to do those back in those days. Yes. And Chris Benoit did it and then broke his neck doing it.
Whoa.
But I guess they did it properly, and Chris didn't one night, and he was out for a year with a broken neck. So you got to be careful when you're doing it. But I guess that's the difference of this era that we wrestled in. It's when you had to know how to work, to this era where they raised the bar so high that God bless these kids, but they're getting hurt every day.
Yeah.
And they don't have a 20-year career or 25-year career
or 30-year career like we did without getting injured.
Yeah.
We got injured, but not where we were out for months and years at a time.
I mean, you see guys like Cactus Jack. I mean, he's still a young man, but he's all crippled up.
Yeah.
Because of the silly things and because they did raise the standard really way up there and took some ridiculous bumps.
And so I think an advantage you had with your head, but as you're so tall, you could just fall forward and just.
The illusion was a lot better because of your height and everything.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean, the fact that I was 6'4" legitimately and 265, but
it takes quite a toll on his body when he's giving it too. I mean, because he's got to hit the mat from way up from the top rope. So yeah, it's not an easy task, but he knew how to land properly and take the shock and brunt of it. Now, if everybody could do it, they'd have been doing it, but they couldn't. But he was one of the few that was in Harley Race that could do it back in that era.
And, now I remember also like around 79, 80, 81, something like that. There was this wrestling program I was watching would show interviews. Red Bastien promoting some shows in Fremont. Most of them were headlined by Woody Farmer. And then I remember there was a tag match. It was Steve Party, who was a rookie spark plug at the time. Him and some other young kid were teaming against these other two guys. And then you ended up coming in as a replacement for one of the main guys.
What promotion was this now?
I don't remember because they'd show it during the same NWA thing I was watching.
So we're doing Reality Check TV, and we're talking to Danny Shipman. And is Mel Shipman your dad?
Yeah.
But when you ask us these questions, you need to do your homework too, so to remind us, because we probably we got more shower time than a lot of these new kids that are here, And I'm just saying, if you can remind me of the promotions and stuff like that, I can come up with the answers.
I just remember wrestling, but I remember you ended up like I saw the tape of the match. They broadcast the match that they were hyping. You actually left the ring and came back wearing a mask because you didn't want your beautiful face to be touched because all the girls out there.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
I don't. Was it a Red Bastien promotion? It was a Tully Blanchard on it and Scott Casey. Was that the one that we did out of Modesto?
I remember they were promoting the matches like in Fremont in the Bay Area, and I just remember Red Bastien called the matches, and he did the interviews.
We did go down for Red Bastien, and we taped
A show out of Modesto.
a couple of shows out of Modesto. That might have been one you were referring to.
Yeah.
There was a tournament down there. So, but the one they're talking about in Fremont, I can't remember that because we have thousands of matches, thousands of cities, hundreds of countries, and to remember just that one, you have to be a little more detailed.
I was wondering if that was if you came back with a double wearing the mask because the guy kept trying to take your mask off and he couldn't get it off.
Well,
then you'd be doing the interviews. Now, girls, I know the girls don't want my face to be messed up.
Okay, I'm not remembering that one as much, but we can move on. Any other questions you'd like to ask?
Yeah. Well. So you also was Colonel. Were you in the AWA at the time he was doing Colonel Debeers?
Yes, I was. He was in before me, and then I came in just a couple months after he was there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're doing this. And I never knew that was you. I usually recognize wrestlers, but I never recognized you. I thought this guy's too handsome to be a heel.
There you go. That's for sure. No, and I spent a lot of time wrestling over in Europe after I left Shires, and when I came back, I walked into a dressing room and it looked like I was on a Star Wars set. It's like things had just suddenly tremendously changed. The business seemed to do an about face, and so you could no longer just be a plain ordinary guy. You had to dress it up, and of course I spent a lot of time in South Africa, so I was familiar with the South African apartheid and culture and everything else, so it was a natural for me to just assume that character.
Yeah, because I was just impressed with the scientific knowledge you were showing, and also the kind of elegant class you'd show during the interviews, even though you were like a hate monger.
Yeah.
That you were playing, and something that really ticked me off was because ring announcers are supposed to be objective and not let their feelings get in the way. I remember a match you had with a kid named Earthquake Ferris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Out of Antioch, California.
Yeah, and it was Larry Nelson and Greg Gagne calling the match, and they were like rooting for Ferris when he was about to finish. Like, come on, do it. But then they're like, oh no, he didn't. I was like, hey, that's biased, man. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's how hated he was, though.
Yeah. They knew that they couldn't in any way show any sort of favoritism toward me because it was, let's face it, you were dealing with a racial issue and a delicate issue. So it was a fine line that you had to walk. So I can see where maybe they had to take that stance.
Yeah, and I read an article, Pro Wrestling. Did you actually write that article? I meant to kill Jimmy Snuka and PWI.
Did I write it?
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I did.
yeah.
I didn't really write it. I don't know who did or who penned it,
He
but
meant to beat him and put him out of it, knock him out of wrestling. He didn't mean to kill nobody. I don't think any wrestler meant to kill another wrestler. But if you just did your best to perform and give the people a hell of a match.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys were hella workers.
well, thank you very much.
No, thanks very much for saying that.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's been quite a run, and we're here at the CAC in Las Vegas, and we're doing an interview here at the Plaza with Reality Check TV, and it's an honor and a privilege to do it anytime, anywhere.
It's an honor for me just to finally meet you guys. Well, I met you at the Metal Fest in '99 in San Bernardino with Steve Rosano. I interviewed you there too, and you were blown away by what a memory I had because I was telling you about all this other stuff that I've been talking about.
Oh, for the XPW?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, that interview didn't come out, so now we're making up for it.
All right, the one we did 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It didn't come out? Gotcha.
Yeah, the audio was all screwed up on it.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
and we're going to get a copy of this?
Absolutely. Get me your address.
Yeah, well, not over the air here,
Right,
because
of
we don't
course.
need all those girls coming around again. You know?
Yeah, it was hard enough the first time to have to perform like that. I'd hate to do it again.
Yes.
All right, so you guys want to give a station ID?
Oh, let
Introduce.
me tell you, I want to give a plug to PlayboyBuddyRose.com. If you want to go there, we got a wrestling school, Colonel and myself, for any new up and young comers that think they have a future in wrestling and have a dream. We can, we'll train you, and you only pay by the week. So in other words, you want to quit 2 or 3 weeks in, or a month in, or 2 months in, you're only out the money you were in. We don't have like $2,000 or $3,000 like a lot of these wrestling schools holding your money, and then you get hurt or you're out, and you're out all that money. We don't do that to nobody. We're very fair. It's very family friendly, and if somebody's interested and would like to just try out with us and see if they like it, they got a chance, and it's in the Portland, Oregon area. But it's at PlayboyBuddyRose.com. Look it up, and it's got a toll-free number, and they can call it and get a hold of us. And I'll give you the number. It's 1-866-351-1494. If anybody's interested in becoming a professional wrestler, call us, and we'll give you a call back.
Okay, cool. We'll get that out there. All right, well, thanks a lot, guys.